Namaste. This is an offering for an evening practice, a transition from your day to relaxation before sleep. And you can utilize the entire video or cherry pick different stretches and asanas to meet your needs. We're going to begin laying down on the mat. Before we dive into evening practice, if you have a chair available, a blanket, a bolster, that would be helpful. If you don't, we will make do, as we always do. And then come back down onto your mat. We're going to begin this evening's practice with knee to chest pose. You can hold underneath the thighs or around the shins. Either way, we're not forcing anything, far from it. We want to begin this changing gears, this winding down, this settling with the breath. Close your eyes. Relax your jaw. You even want to take a yawn and feel this stretch in the back of your throat, that little uvula hanging down. Or toggle the jaw side to side, feeling the release in the mandible. It helps release the facial bones, the temporal bones above the ears. Allow the eyes to soften, begin settling back towards the inner skull. Allow the shoulders to begin settling back. Allowing feel the heaviness in the back of your skull against the support beneath you. As you begin releasing the day, and even the yesterdays, begin to notice what's going on now by focusing on the breath as it flows, as it strokes the inner nostrils, as it touches the back of your throat. Its temperature, its sound. And you feel this breath, this rise on the inhalation, the fall on the exhalation, in the chest, in the belly, perhaps just an overall sense in the body. Could you allow the exhalation to be a bit longer than the inhalation? So if you take a breath in for 2, Om 1, Om 2, take a breath out for 4, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. And sense a heaviness as you breathe out in the tailbone, as if the bone were made up of wet sand sinking towards the earth. And if it's comfortable for you, then breathing in to a count of 3, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3. And exhaling for a count of 6, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Feeling that the sacral bone just above the tailbone, above the coccyx, is heavy, feeling like wet sand sinking towards the earth beneath you. Feel as if the exhalation is draining out your lower belly, draining out the tailbone into the earth, the way water drains out a bathtub. It drains at its own pace, melting. Like this, think of a snowflake melting onto packed snow, disappearing, dissipating. The settling. Bring your attention back to your eyes. The more you can release the facial bones, the more you'll feel the eyes settling as well. It takes time. You might still feel a sense of the eyeballs darting around. There's no worries. Soften the temporal bones. Soften cheekbones. Feel a lightness in the facial bones while you still sense this heaviness in the base of your body. As if the facial bones were floating upwards. Rooted into the earth. Lower back, hips. Very light in the face. Very soft. The ears feel like big elephant ears, very floppy. And as we move through this evening's practice, when distractions come, whether it's sensations in the body, thoughts in the mind, rather than trying to fight with those distractions, fight with your thoughts, you can think of a bathtub of water and your thoughts stirring up the bathtub. Just let the bath settle. If you went to try to smooth out the bathtub, you would just make the situation much worse. Just step back. Let the thoughts, those disturbances stay in the wings. Let your breath be center stage. Observe. Trust the process. Trust the settling. Trust that relaxation is who you are, and the tension is who you think you should be. Very slowly now step your feet on the mat. Bring your right arm above your head. We're going to roll to the right side. Press into your left hand and bring yourself up to a seated position. Sit on something, a rolled blanket, a bolster, a good 4 to 6 inches. Come to an easy seat. And that can mean a lot of different things. So you could prop your knees with blocks. If you have issues with the knees, you could bring a leg out. You really want to practice in the way that works for you. Feel the heavy seat again, perhaps removing flesh from the sit bones so you can feel grounded in a sense of samasthiti, even, steady, left to right, right to left. Relax your palms. Notice how they feel. Shoulders descend down the back. Leg bones heavy. Again, that wet sand imagery sinking into the earth. Lengthen through the central axis. Lengthen out the back side of the head where the spine meets the skull, right at the brain stem. Relax the jaw, perhaps that toggling of the yawn. Facial muscles soft. It's as if the face has been washed clean. With the eyes closed, allow the inner focus to descend down between the navel center and your pelvic floor. In Taoist practice and in the martial arts, this space is known as Dan Tien, the field of fluid awareness. It's also called the Hara, lower belly. We have this strong base we sit upon. It's also fluid. To imagine an underground lake. In Taoism, they often use the imagery of mist settling over the valley. This is the gravitational center of the body, the energetic center of the body. Sense the breath flow here. Fluid. It's a little rippling effect. It moves throughout the body from the center. In the slow exhale, could you imagine the breath draining out the body once again? From the lower abdomen down, through the tailbone, out the legs. This downward wind, this exhalation is known as apana vayu, the downward wind. Let's help the evening practice along this letting go by focusing on the apana vayu, the release. Let go. Use this cleansing exhale. Focus on letting go. Breath, busyness of the mind, tension in the body, so that you can truly take in clear space, sense of peace, quiet. And after focusing on the exhale, can you notice how the inhale has affected the prana vayu, the expansive breath, which is in the thoracic cavity, the lobes of the lungs, and the arms. Perhaps feeling some opening beneath the armpits, underneath the collarbone. So again, no force, but just exploring how a true letting go breath can help the intake space. Over to the earth beneath you, the steady ground, and then take in the space above. Think of the inner space inside of you even greater, more vast than the outer space around you. long central axis, long spine, from the tailbone, lengthening out the back side of your head. So grounded on the bottom, and as your mind's eye moves up the length of your body, feel a sense of lightness towards the top. Letting your eyes open, help your knees up, stretch your legs out. I'm just going to move to the side. You stay where you were or are. Continuing to encourage this release, this detox from within. I'm going to come into a twist for the body. And this variation of the twist, Marichasana, is great for any level of yoga. It's named after the Hindu sage Marichai, who is the father of all humanity. So that's nice to think about, winding down our day, feel comforted. You're going to take your left leg about 15, 20 degrees from center and hug your right leg in. That right heel wants to be as close to your buttock as possible. So don't worry about the edge of your right foot touching the opposite thigh. You just want to have that right heel as close to your buttock as possible. Begin lengthening out your left heel. Wrap your left arm around your right leg. That will help you sit up nice and tall. So keep the spine imagery we've been talking about, heavy, grounded on the bottom, and then lighter as we lift. Bringing your right arm around for support. Lift up tall, and then begin your twist, dragging your navel center around your upper thigh. So this way, we're not dumping weight into the base of the spine, but distributing weight as we twist. Keep lengthening out your left heel. And now, gently look back towards your left toes. So the belly is still twisting the navel center over your thigh, the right thigh, and we're looking, the cervical spine is twisting back around to look at your toes. Take another breath here. Unwind yourself, unravel, come back to center. Take a little rock on both heels. And let's move to the other side. Hug the left knee in. Take your right leg, again, about 15 degrees from center. You really want to hug that heel in as close as you can to the buttock. Notice how it sits you up nice and tall. There's different variations of Marichasana, so we're just going to stay in this first stage. You're going to wrap around your opposite arm, press out your right heel, and your left arm around. That'll help you lengthen up tall too, so you're not dumping into the base of your spine. Begin drawing your navel center. It's like your belly button is peeking over the thigh. Keep lengthening out the right heel. Detoxing the colon. Good twist on the ascending and descending colon here. Transverse colon as well. Closer you can hug in, the better. Now turn back and look over towards your right toes. And then we'll unwind and stretch the leg long again and rock on the heels. Real easy. Flip floppy.
How are the eyes feeling? How's the jaw? Keep checking in. So you stay in the present moment. Walk the heels into the body, give a hug. And we're going to transition into tabletop. So if you'd like support for the knees, I like a blanket. Coming into child's pose, take the knees wide, feet together. When you sit back, if you'd like to have some extra support, you can bring a bolster to sit on. Arms will come in front and relax your elbows and forearms to the ground. And we want to support the forehead. We're stimulating the third eye in between the eyebrows. So you could also use a block or a pillow. Find what works for you. Here I want to encourage the introspection. You let the belly hang and the release through the shoulders. What are you noticing? Continue to focus a bit more on the exhale, on the letting go. With the steady earth beneath you. When you feel the inhalation, be aware of the spread through the rib cage, right under the armpit, taking in new oxygen, fresh breath. And then slowly begin to walk your palms back up towards your body. We're going to lean to one side, whichever side you'd like. Bring your legs out in front of you. And then take them as wide as feels comfortable for you. For a forward, wide-legged forward bend. Flex the feet. If this is uncomfortable for the hamstrings, they feel really tight or the hips feel tight, you could bring blocks underneath the knees, or pillows. Sitting up tall, on the exhale, walk forward. Stay on your fingertips. You could come down onto your forearms if it's in your practice. Ground your heels. You want to feel that connection once again into the steadiness, into the earth, the groundedness. And soften the face. Focusing on the apana vayu, the downward flow breath, downward wind. Think about the release from below the navel center, right through the tailbone, out the legs, and into the earth. There's lots of options too. If you have a bolster and a block, you could make this more restorative and just lay. It's the letting go. And a nice practice I often use in my yoga tool belt I pull out is simply breathing in the word let and exhaling the word go.
And I elongate that breathing in, let, and breathing out, go. Mantras are instruments of the mind. What keeps you focused? Wherever you are, take 3 more breaths with a slow breath in and a deep breath out. You could utilize the breath count, utilize a simple phrase. Using the strength of your hands, gently walk yourself up. And take your right palm underneath your right knee and help your knee up. And do the same with the other side. And then gently lower your spine back down onto the mat. And take a moment to let your knees sink inward, constructive rest where you're feeling a heaviness in the lower back. That sinking feeling. There's nothing you need to do but allow gravity and the weight of your body to take hold. Heel toe the feet together and draw the knees into the body, hugging. Any time this occurs, whether you're hugging from the shins or underneath the thighs, it's apanasana or apanavayu. In your practice, you can think of that now. They're helping the downward wind. It's no wonder it's called wind relieving pose. We're putting pressure on the digestive organs. We're focusing on the exhale. It's a great way as you're ending your day to help the body release. And spend as much time as you want to here. I'm going to move us into the next position. Step your feet on the mat. Bring your hands by your side. You're going to press into your elbows, forearms, and palms to sit up. So if you have a bolster, bring the bolster right behind your spine and place a folded blanket right on top. If you don't have a bolster, just have patience, and I'm going to show this first, and then I'll show it with a rolled blanket. Lower back down. Tuck the shoulder blades underneath you. Come into supported fish. Long legs. They flap open. Feet flap open. You can do it with bent knees. The knees turn in slightly. If you have a rolled blanket, a nice long rectangle. Fold it over to have some, maybe like a 4-inch diameter. When you lay long, hopefully you'll have some leftover blanket that you can curl under and support the neck and head. Now you could try it a few times. You're on nobody's clock but your own. And you could let the legs slide long, you can bend the knees, and in either posture, you could also come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Feel the wide open chest. Many times during the day, we do a lot of sitting, whether it's in the car or staring at a screen. There's a ventral pull. The shoulders hunch over. Supported fish is such a wonderful posture to counteract that.
As you feel the exhalation draining down the bottom half of your body, out the tailbones, out the legs, out the feet into the earth. Then you focus on this expansive inhale, this prana vayu opening up through the thoracic cavity. You can feel it underneath the armpits. You can even feel it at the base of the throat. Without force, feel it opening through the arms, through the fingertips. I love how T.S. Little calls this the kite of the sternum. And when you breathe in, it's breathing in through both axes of the kite, as if your sternum was actually a kite and the breath was flying it and opening both north and south and east and west along the sternum of your body. It's a lift. I often spend a good deal of my evening before I go to bed in a supported fish. Spend a couple more breaths here, so you're welcome to just continue letting go into the supports beneath you. I'm going to guide us into our next position by using the strength of the elbows, forearms, and palms, pressing into the earth beneath us. We sit up. Remove the props from underneath you. This is where I'm going to bring my brand new yoga chair I'm so excited to use. So if you have a regular chair, you'll just turn it to the side because I'm guessing it has a back. Or you can use a sofa. And when we lie back down again, you'll bring your bottom close enough that you can bring your legs onto the support right at the back of knee level and lower down. So if that blanket's right there, you can use it underneath your neck and head, but the shoulders need to stay planted. Gently tuck them underneath you. Let the back of the head feel heavy, shoulders, arms heavy. Legs completely relaxed. Any kind of inversion where the feet are above heart level is extremely beneficial, especially at the end of the day. Allow your awareness to descend down again towards the lower belly and the space between the navel center and the pelvic floor. This is the rest and digest breath, the parasympathetic system at work. Can you feel or sense the hums, the metabolic hums within your body? The pulsation, perhaps starting with your heart. And you feel that pulse, that rhythm
in the wrists or the hands. Can you feel that rhythm, that pulse in the ankles or the feet, perhaps even in the belly? What do you hear when you listen to the body? You're welcome to continue staying in your inversion. Slowly slide your legs out. Best you can, remove your prop without disturbing yourself too much. And if you have a bolster, place that underneath your knees and lie back down on your mat again for Shavasana. You can place a rolled blanket underneath your knees as well, or you can use that blanket as support underneath your neck and head. You can use pillows underneath your knees. Find the space that works best for you. And then allow the back of your skull to sink heavy into the support beneath you. Notice the parts of the body that are at contact with the floor. The heels, back of the head, parts of the back of the hands, the buttocks. And notice the parts that aren't, the little space behind the heels, behind your neck, spaces behind the back. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, release the entire body back into the support beneath you, the parts that touch and the parts that don't. Let it go. Sink, sink, sink. And then allow your breath to gently glide in and out of the nostrils, paying attention to the stroke of the inner nostrils, the breath stroking the inner nostrils, and on the back of the throat. Unhinge the back jaw. Feel the gentle part of the lips and teeth. Relax the tongue. Notice the eyes floating in the sockets, and feel them sinking way back towards the inner skull. The face is completely at ease. As you rest in the quiet, absorbing your practice, I'll leave you with these words from Robert Louis Stevenson. Anyone can carry his burden, however heavy, until nightfall. Anyone can do his work, however hard, for one day. Anyone can live sweetly, patiently, lovingly, purely until the sun goes down. And this is all that life really means. Rest in this spatial awareness for as long as you'd like. Namaste.